The silent exile, the dismissal ambassador Kellen Torres, stood before the towering crystal podium of the Galactic Federation Council, his human form dwarfed by the massive alien representatives surrounding him. The Zephyrian Council leader, a being of pure energy contained within a shimmering field, spoke with the casual indifference reserved for insignificant matters. Species designation: human. Classification: primitive. Council decision: removal from Federation space. The energy being's voice resonated through the chamber without emotion. Your species lacks the necessary evolutionary advancement to contribute meaningfully to galactic civilization. Kellen felt his jaw clench. Counselor Vextar, humanity has proven our adaptability. We've colonized 17 worlds in just 2 centuries. Our technological growth rate exceeds most species in the Federation. A ripple of what might have been amusement passed through the Zephyrian's energy field. 17 worlds in 2 centuries. The Korthani Empire established 700 worlds in their first century of space travel. The Nexus collective processes information at rates your organic brains cannot comprehend. You are ... quaint, Ambassador Torres, but ultimately irrelevant. The manted representative, a towering insectoid creature, clicked its mandibles in agreement. The humans show promise in basic tool use, but they lack the sophisticated social structures necessary for galactic integration. Their emotional instability makes them unsuitable for advanced civilization. We request reconsideration, Kellen pressed. Humanity has unique perspectives that could benefit the Federation. Our adaptability, our creativity, our willingness to explore dangerous frontiers. Dangerous frontiers, the Aquarian delegate bubbled through its translation device, are dangerous precisely because civilized species avoid them. Your species. Recklessness is not an asset. The vote was swift and unanimous. Humanity would be relocated to the Outer Rim territories, beyond the boundaries of civilized space. They would be given basic supplies and left to develop on their own. Assuming they survived at all. The long journey captain Alina Reeves commanded the transport vessel New Dawn, one of 200 ships carrying humanity's entire population away from their adopted homeworlds. 3 billion humans packed into vessels designed for cargo, not comfort. The journey to the Outer Rim would take 8 months through hyperspace lanes that barely qualified as navigable. Captain, we're receiving complaints from Deck 7 again, reported her first officer, Commander James Park. Families are saying the food synthesizers are producing something that barely qualifies as edible. Elena rubbed her tired eyes. They'd been traveling for 3 months, and every day brought new problems. Tell them we're all eating the same synthesized proteins. The Federation gave us exactly what they thought we'd need to survive, nothing more. Through the viewport, she could see the scattered lights of other human ships stretching across space, like fallen stars. Each vessel carried thousands of people who had been forced to abandon everything they built in Federation space. Scientists, artists, engineers, farmers, all now refugees in the vast emptiness between galaxies. Ma'am, the communications officer called out, I'm picking up something strange on the long-range sensors. It looks like, well, it doesn't match any known stellar phenomena. Elena moved to the sensor station. The readings showed massive gravitational anomalies ahead, but not the kind created by stars or planets. What are we looking at, Lieutenant? THINK. I think they're artificial structures, Captain. Massive ones. But they're not showing up on any of the Federation's star charts. The hidden realm, the Outer Rim territories, turned out to be far more interesting than the Federation had indicated. What appeared to be empty space on their charts was actually filled with ancient structures, abandoned worlds, and resources that defied conventional understanding. Dr. Sarah Chun, humanity's leading xenarchaeologist, stood in the ruins of what had clearly been a vast city on the world they designated Haven Prime. The architecture was unlike anything in Federation records, built from materials that seemed to phase in and out of normal spacetime. These structures are at least 50,000 years old, she reported to the Colonial Council. But the technology embedded in them is more advanced than anything the Federation possesses. Whoever built this civilization was working with principles of physics that we're only beginning to understand. Governor Marcus Webb, elected leader of the human colonies, studied the data with growing excitement. Can we adapt any of this technology? Already working on it, replied Dr. Chun. The power systems alone could revolutionize our energy production. But Marcus, there's something else. I've found evidence that whoever lived here didn't just disappear. They transcended. She led him to a chamber deep within the ruins where symbols covered every surface. In the center sat a device that hummed with barely contained energy. This is some kind of repository, she continued. It contains the accumulated knowledge of an entire civilization, not just their technology, but their understanding of the universe itself. And Marcus, it's designed to interface with biological neural networks. The transformation over the following decades, humanity began to change. The ancient knowledge they'd discovered didn't just advance their technology. It fundamentally altered their understanding of reality itself. They learned to manipulate matter at the quantum level, to fold space-time for instantaneous travel, and to enhance their own biological capabilities. Captain Torres's, now Admiral Torres, stood on the bridge of humanity's first truly advanced starship, the Prometheus. The vessel looked nothing like Federation technology. Where alien ships were built for efficiency or intimidation, human ships were designed for adaptability and survival. "Phase drive ready, Admiral," reported his tactical officer, Lieutenant Kim Okafor. "We can reach the Andromeda Galaxy in 6 hours." Torres nodded. "Helm, take us out. It's time to see what's waiting for us in the deep void." The Prometheus didn't accelerate in any conventional sense. Instead, it seemed to step sideways out of normal space-time, reappearing instantaneously in a region of space no Federation vessel had ever explored. What they found changed everything. The discovery, the void between galaxies, wasn't empty. It was filled with structures that made the ancient ruins on Haven Prime look primitive by comparison. Massive constructs the size of solar systems drifted through the darkness, each one a testament to engineering capabilities that defied comprehension. "Admiral," whispered Lieutenant Okafor, "those structures, they're inhabited. I'm reading billions of life forms, but they're not biological. They're something else entirely." Torres felt a chill run down his spine. "Are they hostile?" Before anyone could answer, their communication system activated. A voice spoke in perfect English, though the accent was unlike anything from Earth or the colonies. "Welcome, children of Earth. We have been waiting for you to find us. We are the architects, the builders of the civilization whose knowledge you have inherited. We transcended physical form eons ago, but we have been watching your species with great interest." The main view screen activated, showing a being of pure thought and energy, similar to the Zephyrians, but infinitely more complex. "Your species possesses something unique," the architect continued. "You adapt, you survive. You grow stronger through adversity. The Federation dismissed you as primitive, but they failed to understand that evolution is not about perfection. It is about the ability to change." Torres found his voice. "What do you want from us?" "Not what we want from you, Admiral Torres. What we want to give you. The knowledge to claim your rightful place in the universe. The power to protect what you have built, and the wisdom to use both responsibly." The network asterisk. Over the next century, humanity expanded beyond anything the Federation could have imagined. Using the architects' knowledge and their own innovative spirits, they established colonies not just in the outer rim, but in distant galaxies, parallel dimensions, and even alternate timelines. Commander Lisa Santos commanded a fleet of exploration vessels that existed partially outside normal spacetime. Her ships could be in multiple locations simultaneously, gathering information and resources across vast distances. Status report from all sectors, she requested during her daily briefing. Milky Way operations are at 100% efficiency, reported her first officer. We have monitoring stations positioned throughout Federation space, completely undetectable by their technology. The Andromeda colonies have established contact with 17 new civilizations. All peaceful first contact protocols successfully implemented. What about the temporal research stations? Project Kronos is showing promising results. We've successfully established communication with alternate timeline versions of humanity. It appears that in most realities, humans were either destroyed or enslaved by more advanced species. We're uniquely fortunate in our trajectory. Santos nodded thoughtfully. In less than 2 centuries since their exile, humanity had become the most widespread and technologically advanced civilization in known space. It controlled resources from multiple galaxies, possessed technology that made Federation science look primitive, and had established peaceful contact with hundreds of alien species. Yet they remained completely hidden from the very civilization that had cast them out. The Watcher's agent Michael Reeves, great-grandson of Captain Elena Reeves, sat in a coffee shop on Zephyr Prime, the capital world of the Federation. To any observer, he was just another alien visitor, his human features disguised by sophisticated holographic technology dot through his neural implant. He monitored dozens of conversations happening simultaneously across the planet. Federation citizens discussed politics, trade routes, and cultural exchanges, completely unaware that their primitive former neighbors now possessed the ability to monitor every communication in their space. Status report, Agent Reeves, came the voice of his handler through the quantum communicator embedded in his brain. The Federation remains completely unaware of our expansion, he replied subvocally. Their intelligence services still classify humanity as extinct, presumed failed colonization attempt. Security remains laughably inadequate by our standards. Any signs of technological advancement? Michael almost laughed. They're still using the same hyperspace drive technology they had 500 years ago. The same weapon systems, the same sensor arrays. They've become completely stagnant, convinced that they've achieved the pinnacle of civilization. This was the irony of the situation. The Federation had exiled humanity for being primitive, but in their arrogance and complacency, they had stopped evolving entirely. While humans had transformed themselves into something beyond their wildest imagination, the advanced species of the Federation had remained exactly as they were centuries ago, the foundation on the hidden world of New Genesis. Humanity's secret. Capital. Premier David Kim addressed the Global Council. Representatives from human colonies across multiple galaxies participated in the meeting through quantum communication links. Fellow humans, he began, we stand at a crossroads. For 3 centuries, we have grown in secret, building an empire that spans galaxies while remaining invisible to those who cast us out. We have surpassed every species in the Federation by orders of magnitude. The question now is, what do we do with this power? Counselor Maria Santos from the Andromeda sector spoke first. We could reveal ourselves, show the Federation what we've become, prove that their dismissal of humanity was the greatest mistake in galactic history. And what would that accomplish? Asked Counselor James Chun from the Magellanic colonies. Revenge? Satisfaction? We've already proven our worth by surviving and thriving. Do we need their acknowledgement? Premier Kim studied the faces of his fellow leaders. There's another consideration. Our long-range sensors have detected something troubling. Ancient machines, older than the architects, are awakening in the deep void. They appear to be heading toward inhabited space, and their intentions are clearly hostile. The council chamber fell silent. Through their advanced monitoring systems, they had detected the approach of entities that made even their transcended technology look primitive. "The Federation has no idea what's coming," continued Kim. "Their weapons and defenses wouldn't last minutes against these beings. Every civilization in known space would be obliterated within decades." Counselor Santos leaned forward. "So we have a choice. Remain hidden and watch the Federation burn, or reveal ourselves and protect the very beings who rejected us." "There's a third option," said Counselor Chun. "We protect them without revealing ourselves. Let them believe their salvation comes from unknown benefactors. We save lives without compromising our security." Premier Kim nodded slowly. "The decision will ultimately be made by the full council, but I believe we already know what we must do. We are human. We protect life, even when that life has wronged us. It's what makes us who we are." As the council debated humanity's future, none of them realized that their greatest test was about to begin. The ancient machines weren't just heading toward Federation space. They were specifically seeking the one species that had managed to transcend the limitations of organic existence while retaining the essence of what made them alive. They were coming for humanity, the galactic awakening, the Forgotten 500 years had passed since humanity's quiet exile from Federation space. In the gleaming towers at Zephyr Prime, Counselor Vextar reviewed the quarterly reports from the outer territories. The energy being's attention was focused on trade disputes and resource allocation, the mundane business of governing a peaceful galaxy. "Counselor," interrupted his aide, a young mantid named K.L. Kadar, "I found something interesting in the historical archives. Do you remember a species called humans?" Vextar's energy field flickered with mild curiosity. "Humans? The designation seems familiar. Check the extinction records." Clockthar's compound eyes scanned the data streams. "Here it is. Primitive bipedal species, relocated to the Outer Rim territories approximately 500 years ago. Status: presumed extinct. Final report indicates they lacked the technological sophistication to survive in uncharted space." "Tragic, but inevitable," Vextar responded without emotion. "The galaxy is better ordered when species develop at their proper pace. Those who attempt to advance beyond their capabilities invariably destroy themselves. Neither being could have." Imagine that at that very moment, human observers were monitoring their conversation from a hidden station just outside Zephyr Prime's sensor range. Or that humanity's empire now encompassed more territory than the entire Federation had ever claimed. The calm before DR. Elena Vasquez stood in the observation deck of Research Station Infinity, watching the slow dance of galaxies through the viewport. The station existed in a pocket of folded space-time, simultaneously positioned between the Milky Way and Andromeda, while being technically nowhere at all. "Dr. Vasquez," called her research partner, Dr. Shun Wei, "you need to see this. The Deep Space Monitoring Array is picking up something unprecedented." Elena moved to the massive holographic display that dominated the research center. What she saw made her blood freeze. Vast shapes were moving through the void between galaxies, each one larger than entire star systems. "How many?" she asked. "Conservative estimate? 50,000 individual entities, possibly more. They're moving in perfect formation, heading directly toward the galactic core. Estimated arrival time at the edge of inhabited space: 18 months. Elena studied the data streams. The entities radiated energies that registered off every scale they had. Whatever they were, they possessed technology that made even humanity's advanced capabilities look primitive. "Are they alive?" "That's the terrifying part," Chun replied. "They're not just alive. They're ancient. Our quantum dating suggests these entities have existed for millions of years, possibly since the universe was young. And Elena, they're accelerating. The awakening, the first sign of trouble, came when the Korthani border colonies went silent. The Korthani Empire, one of the Federation's most militaristic members, maintained dozens of heavily fortified worlds along the galactic rim. When their regular communications suddenly ceased, the Federation sent investigation teams. Admiral Zekton of the Aquarian Fleet commanded the investigation force. His bioluminescent features pulsed with concern as his sensors revealed the impossible. All stations report. "What are you seeing?" "The Korthani worlds are still there, Admiral," reported his tactical officer, "but they're empty. No life signs, no energy signatures, nothing. It's as if every living thing simply vanished." The Admiral's gills fluttered nervously. What about their defensive installations? The Korthani had enough firepower to stop a full invasion fleet. "The installations are intact, sir, but they show no signs of battle damage. Whatever happened here, the Korthani never fired a shot." Here, the Korthani never fired a shot. On the surface of Korthani Prime, the investigation teams found cities that looked as if their inhabitants had simply stepped away. Food was still fresh in restaurants. Vehicles were parked normally, but not a single living being remained. "Admiral," called the lead investigator, "we found something. It's some kind of message, carved into the surface of their Capitol building." The message was simple and terrifying. Adaptation is the only survival. Evolve or be consumed. The collective grows. The pattern within weeks, more colonies began disappearing. The Nexus Collective lost 3 research stations. The peaceful Harmony world simply ... ended. Each time, the pattern was the same. No signs of struggle, no debris, no survivors. Just empty worlds and that same message. The Federation Council convened in emergency session. For the first time in centuries, the great powers of the galaxy faced a threat they couldn't understand or categorize. "We need to contact the architects," declared Counselor Vextar. "If anyone has knowledge of these entities, it would be them." The manted representative, now Speaker Klogzar, clicked his mandibles anxiously. "The architects have been silent for millennia. We don't even know if they still exist." "Then we use every resource at our disposal," Vextar replied. "Contact every member species, every ally, every research station. Someone must have encountered these beings before." What they didn't know was that their communications were being monitored by humanity's vast intelligence network. In the hidden command centers of New Genesis, human leaders watched the Federation's panic with growing concern. The Revelation Captain Sarah Kim commanded the stealth vessel Shadow Walker, positioned just outside the area where the latest colony had vanished. Her ship existed in a state of quantum uncertainty, technically present but undetectable by any known technology. "Captain," reported her science officer, "we're detecting massive energy signatures approaching from deep space. Whatever destroyed the colonies is coming back." Through their advanced sensors, they watched as reality itself seemed to bend and twist. From the distortion emerged beings that defied description, massive entities that appeared to be constructed from dark matter and exotic energy, each one the size of a small moon. "They're not ships," whispered the science officer. "They single quotes alive, but not in any way we understand life." The beings moved toward the nearby Federation research station with terrifying purpose. But instead of attacking, they simply surrounded it. The station's occupants began to change, their biological forms shifting and adapting until they were no longer recognizably their original species. "Captain," the communications officer called out urgently, "I'm picking up a broadcast from the station. They're speaking in perfect galactic standard, but it's not the crew." The voice that came through their speakers was eerily calm. "We are the collective. We are evolution accelerated. We are adaptation perfected. We do not destroy. We improve. Join us willingly, or be improved against your will. The choice in the emergency council chambers of New Genesis, humanity's leaders faced their greatest decision since the exile. Premier Kim studied the tactical displays showing the collective's advance through Federation space. "They're systematically converting every species they encounter," reported Admiral Torres. "The transformed beings aren't dead, but they're no longer themselves. They've become part of something larger." Defense Minister Santos reviewed the military assessments. "Our analysis suggests we could resist their conversion technology, at least initially. Our enhanced biology and quantum consciousness make us more adaptable than baseline organic species. But ultimately, sheer numbers would overwhelm us." "There's another factor," added Dr. Vasquez from her research station. "The collective isn't randomly selecting targets. They're following a specific pattern, moving from less advanced species to more advanced ones. They're learning, adapting their techniques with each conquest." Premier Kim felt the weight of humanity's future on his shoulders. "They'll reach Federation core worlds within months. After that, they'll start expanding outward. Eventually, they'll find us." Counselor Chun from the Temporal Research Division spoke up. "We have options the Federation lacks. Our time manipulation technology could accelerate our development even further. Our dimensional travel capabilities could relocate our entire civilization to alternate realities." "Running," said Premier Kim quietly. "You're talking about running and hiding while every other species in the galaxy is consumed or converted." "It's the logical choice," Chun replied. "We have no obligation to protect the beings who exiled us." The chamber fell silent. "Finally, Admiral." Torres stood. "With respect, Counselor, logic isn't what makes us human. If we abandon our principles to save ourselves, what exactly are we saving?" The intervention the Federation fleet assembled at the border of the Zephyr system represented the combined military might of 50 species. Admiral Zekton commanded the armada from the dreadnought Galactic Unity, a vessel bristling with the most advanced weapons the Federation possessed. "All ships maintain formation," he broadcast to the fleet. "Long-range sensors show the collective entities are 3 hours out." "This is humanity's stand," his tactical officer corrected him. "Sir, you mean this is the Federation's stand?" "No," Zekton replied grimly. "I said what I meant. Humanity, the humans the Federation exiled centuries ago. They're the only species that might have survived what's coming. The first wave of collective entities emerge from hyperspace like living nightmares. Their dark matter forms absorbed energy weapons. Their exotic energy fields disrupted targeting systems, and their mere presence began affecting the minds of organic crews. All ships open fire. Sichon commanded. The Federation fleet unleashed everything they had: plasma cannons, quantum torpedoes, gravitational weapons, and exotic energy beams, all focused on the collective entities. The results were devastating for the Federation forces. Their weapons passed harmlessly through the entities, or were absorbed and converted into energy that made the being stronger. Within minutes, ships began to change, their crews transformed into something else entirely. "All ships retreat," Zekton ordered desperately. "Fall back to the core worlds." But before the survivors could escape, space itself seemed to ripple. New ships appeared as if materializing from empty vacuum. They were sleek, organic-looking vessels that seemed to be constructed from living metal and crystallized energy. "Unknown vessels, identify yourselves," Zekton transmitted. The response came in accented galactic standard. "Federation Fleet, this is Admiral Sarah Chun of the Terran Expeditionary Force. We're here to help." The battle the human ships moved like living beings, flowing around the collective entities with impossible grace. Their weapons were unlike anything in Federation records. Beams of pure creation energy that didn't destroy their targets but transformed them. converting dark matter back into normal matter, and exotic energy into harmless radiation. How are they doing that? Zekton's science officer gasped. Those weapons are operating on principles we don't understand. Admiral Chun's voice came through their communicators again. Admiral Zekton, we need your fleet to withdraw to a safe distance. Our technology operates on quantum principles that could be dangerous to unshielded organic beings. Who are you people? Zekton demanded. We're the species you forgot, Chun replied. The primitive humans you exiled 500 years ago. The battle that followed rewrote the Federation's understanding of what was possible. Human ships didn't just fight the collective entities. They converted them, turning the dark matter beings back into their original forms. Entire collective fleets found themselves transformed into benign energy patterns that dissipated harmlessly. Into space, the collective is retreating, reported Chun. They're falling back to regroup and adapt. We've bought time, but this isn't over. The truth ***. In the aftermath of the battle, Admiral Zekton found himself aboard the human flagship New Dawn, facing beings who looked familiar yet utterly transformed. The humans moved with inhuman grace. Their eyes held depths that suggested vast intelligence, and they radiated an energy that made his organic senses tingle. You've changed, he observed. Admiral Chun smiled. We've evolved. The exile you thought would destroy us instead gave us the freedom to become what we were meant to be. We found the ruins of an ancient civilization, learned from beings who transcended physical existence millions of years ago. Why help us? Zekton asked. After what the Federation did to your people? Because that's what humans do, Chun replied simply. We protect life, even when that life has wronged us. It's what makes us who we are. Zekton studied the tactical displays, showing the scope of humanity's hidden empire. How many worlds do you control? We don't control worlds, Admiral. We partner with them. Our civilization spans 17 galaxies, includes hundreds of allied species, and exists partially outside normal spacetime. We've become something the Federation never imagined possible. The new reality back in the Federation Council chambers, the remaining leaders tried to process what they had learned. Humanity, the species they had dismissed as primitive, had become the most advanced civilization in the known universe. They saved us, Speaker Kluksar said quietly. After everything we did to them, they saved us. Counselor Vextar energy field flickered with something that might have been shame. We exiled them because we thought they were too primitive to contribute to galactic civilization. Instead, they became our salvation. The irony was complete. The Federation had spent centuries congratulating themselves on their enlightened governance, their peaceful prosperity, their advanced technology. But their advancement had been an illusion. They had become stagnant, complacent, convinced of their own superiority. Meanwhile, the primitive humans had faced every challenge with adaptation and growth. They had turned exile into opportunity, isolation into exploration, and adversity into strength. The collective returns 3 months later. Humanity's deep space sensors detected the collective's return. But this time, they came in greater numbers, and with new adaptations based on their previous encounter with human technology. Admiral Chun stood on the bridge of humanity's newest vessel, the Evolution, a ship that existed simultaneously in multiple dimensions and timelines. Around her, the largest fleet in galactic history, prepared for what might be the final battle. They've adapted, reported her tactical officer. The collective entities are now resistant to our conversion weapons. They've incorporated quantum shielding and dimensional displacement. Chun nodded. Then we adapt too. That's what we do. The battle that followed raged across multiple galaxies simultaneously. The collective had learned from their defeat, but so had humanity. As each side adapted to the other's tactics, The conflict became a war of evolution itself. In the end, it wasn't superior firepower that won the day. It was humanity's greatest strength, their ability to form connections with other species. The humans had spent centuries building alliances with beings across the universe, creating a network of civilizations that spanned multiple realities. When the final battle came, humanity didn't fight alone. They fought alongside the transcended architects, the enigmatic void builders, the reality-shaping dream weavers, and hundreds of other species that the Federation had never even heard of. The choice, with the collective defeated and scattered, humanity faced their final decision. They possessed the technology to reshape the galaxy, the power to claim dominion over every species that had once scorned them, and the knowledge to become gods among mortals. Instead, they chose a different path. "We offer partnership, Admiral," Chan announced to the Federation Council. "Not conquest, not dominion, but cooperation. We have knowledge to share, technologies that could benefit everyone, and a perspective forged by centuries of growth." Premier Kim, now representing humanity's vast civilization, addressed the gathered leaders. "The Federation exiled us because they thought we were too primitive. But perhaps that was exactly what the galaxy needed. Someone willing to ask questions, to challenge assumptions, to grow beyond the limitations others accepted. The Federation had a choice to make. They could accept humanity's offer and begin a new age of cooperation and growth, or they could retreat into their old patterns of complacency and stagnation. "We accept," Councillor Vextar said finally, "but we have a question. Will you ever forgive us for what we did?" Premier Kim smiled. "Counselor, forgiveness implies that we held a grudge. We don't. You gave us the greatest gift possible, the freedom to become ourselves. For that, we are grateful." As the council session ended and the representatives returned to their worlds, none of them fully grasped the magnitude of what had occurred. Humanity hadn't just survived their exile. They had used it to become something unprecedented in galactic history, a species that had transcended the limitations of their origin while retaining the essential qualities that made them human. They were no longer the primitive beings who had been dismissed and forgotten. They were the guardians of the galaxy, the bridge between species, and the proof that evolution was not about perfection, but about the courage to keep growing. In the depths of space, human ships continued their eternal patrol, watching over civilizations that would never know how close they had come to extinction. And in the hidden academies of New Genesis, human children learned the most important lesson their species had ever discovered. Sometimes, being forgotten was the first step to becoming unforgettable. Asterisk.